every single month, they get to choose, hey, do we want to stick around or not? Well, why would they stick around? And it's not because of what you did for them. And that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions I see is like, well, look at all these great reward, great results I got for my client. And yet they still decided to leave. Well, why is that? Well, one, you help them get the result that they were looking for, but two, people stick around for the vision. Like they don't stay for what you did for them. They stick around for what they think or believe that you're going to help them achieve in the next 60, 90, 120 days or longer, right? So without vision, people perish.
Welcome back to Creating Powerful Impact. I'm your event host, Shay Wheat, and today we are unlocking the secret behind creating client experiences that don't just satisfy, but they actually scale, they convert, and they advocate. Now, our guest today is Michael G. Walker. He is a strategic advisor to elite entrepreneurs and the mind behind transformative frameworks like Power Grid and Visionary Integration Matrix. Today, he is giving us a behind the scenes look at how to architect customer experiences that they fuel exponential growth. So you are definitely going to want to take some notes on this one and help me welcome Mike to the Creating Powerful Impact stage. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing great, Shay. Thanks for having me.
Good. I'm so excited because we've had some conversations in the past about clients and customer journeys and retention and like all the things that business owners and visionaries tend to not necessarily look at. From our perspective, we do a lot of enrollment events, we do a lot of getting them in the door, but then how do you keep and retain them? How do you really create an architecture that allows them to have an experience with them and continue to have an experience with them? Can you explain what that client experience architecture is and why it's so powerful?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, every business naturally has a tendency to focus in many times exclusively towards acquisition. And yet the reality is that it is the retention piece that can drive a lot of profitability. A lot of people will view, um, any expenditures in both bandwidth and costs towards retention is kind of like a cost center, like, oh, we're just trying to keep our clients happy. But that's actually not accurate because when you consider all the second and third order consequences of having happy clients and clients that stick around with you, you'll end up finding if you do go down that rabbit hole that it's actually a revenue generating activity to keep your clients happy and continue to get value from you, et cetera, et cetera. And so what I do in a lot of my trainings and the books and all the other things is educate people on not only the sequential processes for doing that, but also the psychology behind it, and how to do it in a natural way that doesn't feel too contrived, but is also done in a systematic way that you can generate measurable results. It's not just some vague like, well, let's just, keep clients happy. It's no, there's a science there. There's measurable KPIs and data points that you can measure to make sure that you are driving these types of initiatives in your organization, regardless of whether you're a team of one or a team of many. There are no shortage of things that you can build into your culture, into your onboarding sequences, into your messaging, even at the point of sale, even out in all the way up into the front edge of your marketing. A lot of the differentiators of your delivery can be done and promoted on the front end with talking about your client experience. And that's one of the biggest differentiators of a business is that it can not only look at its client relationships as a retention piece, but also as a marketing piece. And that's something that I really like to help people get clear on because it's a huge driver of profit when it's done properly. There we go. Profitably and properly.
Give me some examples of on the marketing side versus the retention and the ongoing.
Sure. So in the marketing side, one of the biggest things that I'm a huge advocate for is making sure that your client services team is communicating with your sales team. because it
Okay, wait,
creates
say that
a
again. You actually want the teams talking to one another.
on a weekly basis. Yeah. In fact, I have my client services manager, Lael. He jumps on the sales team calls on Monday and Friday every week. And what that does is it creates a virtuous feedback loop so that what we are seeing from the clients gets fed to the sales team. Now, why would you want that? Well,
Mm,
you want your sales team to understand, hey, look, you just brought in Joe. Here's how Joe's doing. Oh, interesting. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't go look for more Joes because it's not that great of a client fit. Yeah, but Mary's doing fantastic. Oh, wow. Okay. So next time I talk to anybody who resembles Mary, that's even better fit of a client. So we are essentially using client service data and experience to train the sales team. And then vice versa. The sales team can talk to the client services and say, hey, look, we're dealing with these types of challenges, or we getting these types of questions about our service or product. What should we say? And so it creates a really good feedback loop for both teams. And I will say, and I'll end on this part, is that if you have any kind of ongoing um, services, meaning, essentially like a monthly recurring revenue that you drive from your clients, this is critical. And I talk about this in my book, and we'll get into the book later, but if you have any kind of recurring revenue built into your business, which I hopefully you do, then this is where the lines between sales and client services blur because you need both people to be very involved and communicating clearly because the promise that's made at the point of sale has to be fulfilled every single month. So every single month, it is a sales conversation that the client is having in their own head. Do I want to stick around? Am I getting what I thought I was going to get? Were my expectations met? All the things that go on. Well, how do you set those parameters? How do you set those expectations at the time of sale, like when they are brought into the organization? And to kind of go back to what you were saying, and even in your marketing piece, you start talking about the client experience on the very front leading edge of your marketing. It's one of the easiest ways to differentiate your brand, your service, your delivery from anybody else. Because at the end of the day, like you can fight on price, you can fight on quality, you can fight on all these things, but it is the nuances of your client relationship that is very hard, if not impossible, to replicate. So if you can clearly articulate what it is to be a client with me, then naturally I'm going to do better with my marketing because people are going to resonate with what I'm saying. And the cool part is, if I'm doing it well, what I am saying in the marketplace will attract the type of clients I want.
yeah.
Because if I talk about a success story that Mary just had with my service or products or whatever, and I tell the story about Mary, who she is, the problems that she was experiencing, and now the benefits that she's deriving from her interactions with me, well, what does that do? It's going to attract people that resonate with Mary. And they'll be like, oh man, that's the same stuff I'm dealing with. If Mary can do it, maybe I can do it. And so now what happens is that you're using client services data to drive marketing initiatives that then create a positive flow to attract more people like Mary. So it's a really cool circle, but it gets missed in a lot of organizations for sure.
Right, because I see a lot from behind the scenes as well where they stay in their own little departments and they don't necessarily talk to each other. And so when we're doing an event, we touch all of the departments. They're like, why are you not talking to one another? But when you're saying bringing in client services into the sales meeting, it probably also gives them real time testimonial kind of data that they can then sales team implement right away into their next calls. Oh, we
You
just
nailed
heard
it.
about so and so doing X, Y, and Z because they're in our program.
You nailed it. In fact, we have a Slack channel. I'm literally looking at it right now on my other monitor. We have in Slack a channel dedicated. It's just titled Team Wins. And every single time we get a win, whether it be in our online community or from an email or from a text message or wherever, even a phone call, and it's just a quick written message in the channel, we post that there. One, it's just good because that channel, the Team Wins channel, is seen by every single person in the organization. So there's an internal motivating factor. Oh, look, we're making an impact. Clients are getting good results, all those things. But it becomes a feeding ground for the sales team to go, they can just pull stories from it and go, oh, yeah, Joe just got this result, or Frank, he just did this. And now they have more stories. Facts tell, stories sell. And when you can tell a story more efficiently and more impactfully, but because you can relate to the person you're on the phone with, naturally that does good. And so we're essentially arming our sales team with more stories by creating a wins channel specifically for that. And it's a great it's simple to do, but very few organizations will do it.
Right. Simple, easy tweak that somebody can make right away that the whole
Massive.
team can then benefit from. If we could keep going down the line here, we've talked in the past about a loyalty system. What is a loyalty system? What does it actually look like in practice, and how can somebody start implementing it right away?
Yeah, so you'll see this on in different ways across every spectrum of industry. You have the rewards programs at your grocery store, like, oh, if you shop here, you get this, right? Well, what are they doing? They want to make it worth your while to come back, naturally. You'll see that on the receipts, those long receipts you get from CVS Pharmacy, right? There's like 55 different offers at the bottom of those things. Well, that's on purpose. They do that. They make those receipts obscenely long on purpose. There's a psychology there because they're like, yeah, if this thing's big enough, there's perceived value, and it gives us the opportunity to stick around in someone's wallet or purse or whatnot because it's an inch thick of all these different coupons in there that maybe they're going to want, right? So it's a reminder of, hey, you should go back to CVS because you've got this thing that's, yeah, like taking up a lot of band or room in your wallet. You should probably go use this thing or whatever. So, you see it from the lowest spectrum there to you see it to the high end, you name it, like go get a car service or go do this, go do that. And they're gonna give you rewards, they'll send you reminders, they'll do all the things to say, hey, look, thanks for being a great client. Come back again and we'll give you XYZ. I mean, those are normal things. But as it pertains to a more one-on-one relationship, again, kind of going back to like we do, where we have this ongoing relationship with our clients every single month, they get to choose, hey, do we want to stick around or not? Well, why would they stick around? And it's not because of what you did for them. And that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions I see is like, well, look at all these great reward, great results I got for my client. And yet they still decided to leave. Well, why is that? Well, one, you help them get the result that they were looking for, but two, people stick around for the vision. Like they don't stay for what you did for them. They stick around for what they think or believe that you're going to help them achieve in the next 60, 90, 120 days or longer, right? So without vision, people perish. So the idea here is if you can continue to not only reward them for doing business with you, but reward them in the sense of what else can I gain from by being here? What else can I learn? What else can I get? How much more can I make? Whatever it is, if you can reward people for sticking around and showing them not just quantitatively with like value, like I'll give you a discount, which is fine, but pretty transactional. But if you can get into their hearts and minds about, hey, look, today you are here, and then we're gonna, in the next 60 days, we're working towards this next initiative, or this is where you're going to be able to go next. So when you have ascension pathways into your delivery, it certainly helps keep people around longer, more engaged, more inspired. And ultimately, it's better for the relationship because you don't want just people sticking around doing business with you because they just got lazy and that's all they know. That you want them to do business with you because they're driving genuine value. And that can only come from when you are painting the picture of what that looks like in the future, not just what they did in the past.
So, what's an example of somebody that either in your ecosystem or you've helped build within their own companies?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, there's so many. We've done some things where you can kind of gamify it a little bit. Like, hey, once you hit month 3 in the program, we start unlocking these features. That's kind of cool. Or hey, once you achieve XYZ in this program and you accomplish this, or you get a certain score on a survey or something like that, then you get invited to an event, or you receive something in the mail, something physical. I mean, it's pretty much endless in ways of gamifying. The only thing that I encourage people to be careful of when you gamify features like that is you don't want people to feel like there's kind of a what like a carrot on a stick scenario where you're trying to get them to chase something and they're like, I don't know if I want that, right? It's got to be real. It's got to be something that they genuinely want,
Mhm.
or will drive a lot of benefit from. And so for us, we don't typically create scenarios where they unlock things or get something because they've stayed with us long enough. naturally there's referral mechanisms. Hey, if you talk about our services and you end up bringing in a friend to the network, then we'll gladly give you, a bonus commission or referral commission because of that. That's just, good, good to do. But things like just simply inviting people to an event, or we often do as a team, we'll have our quarterly planning sessions, for example. The team flies in once a quarter. We plan out the next quarter, et cetera. Well, sometimes we'll actually just invite a client to come in and sit on that meeting. And so the reward is proximity. And that's something that's really hard to get. You can't necessarily earn that, but we can open the door and let someone in, and they can basically just derive a lot of value. They get a lot of insight from just simply seeing what we are doing and how we're doing it. And that's obviously a little specific to the consulting environment, which is what we do, but you get my point. Like a lot of times, proximity is the thing that unlocks people's loyalty.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, and if they're trying to create a business the size of your business, being able to see the behind the scenes of how it actually works and how the team shows up and how do you handle such and this, that, and the other would be super valuable. And I could
Huge.
see, okay, adding loyalty because I am seeing a behind the scenes piece of that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned events. How do you see from a client experience strategy, how do events play into somebody's business?
Yeah, and I was excited to connect with you on this podcast for this exact reason, because at the Wealthy Consultant, events are literally the pinnacle of what we do. It is the tip of the spear. Everything waterfalls down from events. So at these quarterly and annual team meetings that I was just talking about, we have obviously an events department, and but the entire team is involved in choosing the topics of those events. And those topics for the entire year are mapped out in our annual planning meeting based on VOC, voice of client or voice of customer. And that's a huge piece, right? Like we don't just do events because, well, we should probably do some events. No, no, no. It's built into the psychology of what we want, and more importantly, what we know our clients need. And well, how do we know that? Well, because of VOC, surveys throughout the year, the phone calls we do, taking note and paying attention to the types of questions we see in our online community. What type of support tickets are we getting? All those things feed into what kind of events we should be doing. And so we use events as the pinnacle of everything, because after an event, what happens? Well, we've got obviously the people that attend, they learn a lot and that's great, but we take the replays of those, break those down, edit them down, and turn them into digital products and courses for the people that couldn't be there. Um, Leading up to the event, I'll write in our monthly publication, the consulting memo or the consulting digest, I'll talk about the events that we're having that coming quarter. Hey, we're going to be talking about this. These are the types of problems we're going to be solving. You should come if that makes sense. So everything centers around events. It's the human experience. And if somebody isn't using events, whether they be virtual or in person, and both are extremely valuable, if someone isn't building out event strategies in their business, they're dropping a massive piece of the equation, because it's one of the few things left in our AI automated driven culture that you can't replicate any other way, especially in person. Like you cannot replicate the type of energy transfer that happens when you put a lot of exceptional people together, rubbing elbows, shaking hands, giving hugs. And that, we are energetic beings. And when you put us all in a room, it's like fireworks energetically and even quantum. So those are things that can't be replicated anywhere else. So we are all in, like 110% all in on events at the Wealthy Consultant. And it's all built because of not just the client experience, but because it's essentially kind of think of it like a lighthouse for the year. Every single event is like we have a shining light for the month. Okay, everything's focused on that. All of our communications, all of our support mechanisms are going to be built off of what happens at that event for that next 30 days. And so, yeah, I could go on and on. It's a big piece of what we do here to keep people inspired and keep that loyalty as well, because they understand, wow, that was an amazing event. Now, what am I going to learn at the next one? Well, we're going to be talking about this, this, and this. Oh my God, can't wait to be there. Can I bring a friend?
Right. Well, it's definitely a feedback loop as well, right? So you're hearing everything from customer service, you're hearing it on the calls, you're hearing what is the pain point, and if you need to adjust on the fly, then you'll add in an event or you'll change the topic of an event to support them. It adds to the loyalty pieces that you were talking about. They're coming, they're staying with you, they're re-engaging because you're changing up the topics because it's based on what everybody's saying they need help and support with, right? So that's the retention piece. And the loyalty piece is all based on events, which I love hearing because that's how I see it too.
Yep, yep. No, that's why we sync up for sure. Yeah, no, you nailed it. It's like there's when you nail events, when you do events well, I mean, I honestly can't think of a higher leverage activity because of all the lead up that creates all the energetic and attention lead up that you can create coming to the event the day of, but then all the post-event assets that are generated and all the momentum that can come from that. So, I mean, on both sides of the event, leading up to and after, there's such a trickle up and trickle down effect of benefits that are derived from a singular event, you know? It's just such a high leverage activity that once people nail it and get it done right, it's I have a hard time envisioning what else you could do in your business that wouldn't have more potency to what you do, because it's not a one and done thing. There's so many, satellite elements to it that you can derive value from for your clients. So yeah, it's what you do is really, really important out there for sure.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. So question for you in regards to how can entrepreneurs, like what's a good first couple of steps they can be taking in regards to utilizing this client customer advantage to their own advantage, to supporting their business? Like what should they be looking at? Are there key frameworks or key pieces in their business they should start?
Definitely, definitely. So what gets measured gets done, right?
Mm,
So in the most simplest of terms, like it literally could be a piece of paper and a pen. Just map out like on a singular timeline, if you will. Okay, what happens as soon as someone says, yes, I'm in, whatever in means for you, whatever they buy or sign up for or whatnot, from that moment on, what happens and in what sequence and in what time frames. Just map that out alone. It's not hard to do. This is not rocket science stuff. But as soon as you see it in a timeline form, at scale, you start realizing like, wow, there's some really big gaps here. Or maybe it's like, wow, there's like a lot of communications up front and then just almost like nothing afterwards, right? So just from a zoomed out perspective, you can see the cadence of these different interaction points. That alone is usually pretty eye-opening for people. They're like, yeah, we talked to them like 10 times in the first 24 hours. And then, we talk to them once a month after that. It's like, well, how does that feel?
yeah,
Right? And that's the one key word I'd want to just highlight and visit for everybody here is how does that feel? Feel is a key word, right? Like we buy on emotion, but then we use logic to back up our decisions. And we have to remember that just because someone bought the day of does not mean they're still sold the next day.
yeah,
We've all heard that issue of like buyer's remorse, right? Especially on big ticket items. I don't care how like glamorous it is. You drop, a serious amount of money, whatever that means to you on anything. The next day, your logic is going to be spinning, trying to rationalize, I'm still good, right? That was a good decision, right? I should have done that, right? So what could we be doing as the deliverer or the fulfillment mechanisms for that? Understand where they probably are at. So what would that look like? 24 hours later, hey Mike, I'm so glad that you're on board. We are excited for you. I just wanted you to let you know that, we're here for you. We're thinking of you. You can expect to hear from our team, in the next 48 hours. Whatever it is, like remember and think in terms of where could this person be psychologically? And
mhm,
then let's make sure that our fulfillment sequence is matched to that psychological flow that they're going to be on because they're going to be all excited and peak state by the time they buy. But every second after that point, it's going down no matter what. And so what we've got to do is we have to build in strategy and sequences of messaging and other things to make sure that we're meeting the client with where they're at.
yeah.
Hey, right now you might be feeling a little overwhelmed because there's a lot to do. Don't worry, we got you. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's all these forms I'm filling out, all this new information I'm trying to figure out. Hey, yeah, it's good. That's how you're supposed to feel right now, but we got your back. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like just something stupid, simple like that. But people go, oh, yeah, because they forget what it's like to be a client in your ecosystem for the first time. And that's
Hmm.
where I see a lot of businesses mess up is they're so used to the vernacular they use. They're so used to the sequences that they use that they forget for a brand new client who's never been in that environment before. Well, yeah, you send me your website, but where do I go now? Am I supposed to do? You got me in your online group. Okay, great. But what do I do? Like you have to just give it to them in baby steps and don't assume that they know what to do because that alone is can be a crusher for someone when they're first in, especially if they drop significant money. The biggest thing you want to remove from their plate is question marks. Do
Hmm.
not let people not know or feel like what they know to do. Like that's a very dangerous environment because they've just now dropped a lot of money. So psychologically, they're trying to rationalize that and justify it to themselves. But for every question mark that they run into is another like arrow in the heart going like maybe you did mess up. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. And so you have to remove those question marks in the cycle and in rather the onboarding sequence in particular. So that's what I'm really passionate about helping people do is just remove question marks and just imagine you were a client for the first time, not knowing anything about what you do, other than that you're excited and just dropped a bunch of money. Okay, now what? Now solve for that, and that's kind of what me in particular, I spend a lot of time with our clients, like figuring out for their business.
Yeah. So what you're saying is timeline it out. Take a look at what is your current journey once somebody, says, "Yes, here's the money. I want to join you in your program. Here are the next steps." Timeline it out and then go back and go, "Huh, there's a huge gap right here. Let's add something in. Let's add a touch point. Let's add an event. Let's add something like that." Is that kind of the next steps of it?
Totally, totally. And like a good example, another really simple one. Again, that's the coolest thing about all this stuff. It's easy stuff. Like what I'm telling people to do is not hard. It's just takes thought. It takes intent. And a good example would be, say, onboarding calls. Not everybody has onboarding calls, but in our environment, when you step into, say, Chamber or highest tier consultancy, you're going to go through a lot of onboarding steps because we put a tremendous amount of data and science into the process. Well, all of that accumulates into a onboarding call. So it'll be myself, my business partner Taylor, um, maybe even others on our team, and the client. And then we go through all the materials that they've provided. We help really map a clear 30, 60, 90-day game plan. So from that day, they're like, okay, cool. I've been doing all this homework, but now I've got a plan ahead of me. I've got the next 60, 90 days of I know what to do. Great. But you know what happens after that phone call?
What?
Overwhelm. Like, oh my God, I have so much. I have 90 days of work ahead of me. I'm feeling like I'm excited. I feel like I'm, justified. Like, wow, that was incredible. We usually get people a lot of like really good value just on that one call, but they also are feeling a little overwhelmed. They're like, man, I have so much work to do. I can't even believe that Mike and Taylor told me to do this and that, and like, oh my gosh, right? So a little bit of overwhelm. So what do we do? Within the first 20, 30 minutes of that call ending, hop on real quick and record a 60-second loom. Hey Shay, so excited to meet with you. That was awesome. I know you've got a lot on your plate. We told you you got a lot to do, but here's the thing. You don't just run up Everest, right? You just go one step at a time. So here's what I want you to do. Take all your notes, just put it to the side right now. Go take a nice walk, go get some fresh air. My team is going to build a simple step-by-step plan just for the next 2 weeks. Shelf everything for now. We'll get to that, but we're going to give you a 2 week map so you know exactly what to do in what order, and we're going to keep your life simple for you. Okay. All right. Great. Great talking to you. We'll see you soon. Something like that. Now,
Yeah.
whether that's exactly what I say or whatever, but you get my point. Is like I'm imagining how they're feeling, and I'm going to communicate with them and give them a sense of like, like, oh, okay, that was awesome. Like, yeah, because I was
They've
feeling
got me.
excited,
That's
but
the
over.
big thing, right? It's like somebody's got me. They've got my
Yes.
back. They understand my pain. They understand the direction I want to go. There is a plan, and yet I don't have to know the hows of all of it right now. They have a better idea. That's why I hired them. And they're going to support me in the next steps. I can go, put my feet in the grass or something like that, reground, and then come back to
Totally.
it.
Totally. Just to feel heard and understood is massive. Like going back to your statement about loyalty, that's a big one. It's just making people go like, whoa, how did they know I was feeling that way? It's because we pay attention and we're constantly thinking like, what could we do to make this person feel better? Not do better, not get more, feel better.
Mhm.
Because even if they don't, yeah, don't become a millionaire tomorrow because of your services or products or whatnot, but if you can make them feel better about where they're at and about the process they're undertaking, they're going to stick with you
Mhm.
because it's so hard to feel good anywhere else. It's hard to do anything meaningful and feel good trying to achieve whatever problems it is that they're going through and challenges they're facing. So when you can help offset that feeling and emotion, it's a huge thing. And so that's what I mean, even going to what you do, like events. The events are like an incubator of feeling and emotion, right? So you can curate an event to feel good. But same thing, and I've done a lot of events over the last two and a half decades. I'll even go on stage sometimes and say this, like, hey, look, this is all cool right now, right? This feels good, doesn't it? Everyone's having fun. Yeah. Guess what? We are in a nice warm jacuzzi together right now. But guess what? The world out there is really, really cold and it's not so warm and it's not so bubbly and clean and nice. So I'm going to arm you right now with the reality that in 24 hours after leaving here, you're going to feel doubt, frustration. You're not even sure what you're doing anymore. I guarantee that those types of feelings and thoughts are going to come into your mind. So what am I doing? I am arming you in advance how you're going to feel so that when you do feel that, you do come off the high of an event, you're like, oh, yeah, yeah, Mike did say that he was gonna, that I was gonna start feeling this way. And so I'm empowering them before they even know that they have a problem. And now
Mhm.
all of a sudden you move yourself up way up in their minds in authority because it's like, wow, not only do they get me, they get what's coming, and I didn't even know it was going to come yet.
Mhm.
So that's where like events are so killers because you can frame people properly to not just succeed in the event environment, but to exceed once they're outside of it.
Exactly. Absolutely. Super important too. I mean, you're essentially taking care of the people that are coming to you because they're in pain. And we want to make sure we continue to take care of them even after the event, whether or not they decide to do business with you, which I absolutely love. Mike, we could probably continue to talk about all of this and geek out even more, but I know you have actually a couple of different books. But would you share with people that want to either reach out to you? How do they best do that? And then can you share about a couple of books that you have that they might want to pick up?
Yeah, definitely. So, my first book that came out last year, The Exceptional Experience, you can just find it in Amazon. Just search The Exceptional Experience by Michael Walker. That book in particular is based on the title, you can probably tell, like all about the client experience. But more importantly, how do you build these systems? It's very tactical. It's like more like it reads more like a guide or a manual than it would some novel page turner, right? So I tell every single business owner, get this book into the hands of every single person that engages directly with clients because regardless of whether they're in the customer support or customer success department or not, sales team, get it to them, exec team, get it to them, ops team, get it to them. Why? Because every single person on your team is in charge of client experience somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow it is. And so you want some of these paradigms and different things that I teach on in the book to become woven into the DNA of your organization as a whole. Like it's got to just permeate everything that you guys do. And when that does happen well, those are the companies that thrive. And so this book, The Exceptional Experience, is all built how to do that, what to do specifically, how to measure it, all the things that we've been kind of lightly touching on together here. It goes into the specifics of how and why and all that. So The Exceptional Experience is an awesome read for anybody that is looking to raise the bar for their clients. And then the book that officially just launched yesterday, actually, it's called The Systems Thinking Visionary, and that's for business owners, executives, anybody in charge of an organization or driving their departments, whether you're an entrepreneur or entrepreneur. This book is really helping people take their big ideas, but turn them into actionable plans. because the world does not need more dreamers. We need more doers. And the world does not reward your dreams. It rewards what you implement, what you actually put into the world. And so, by the nature of what I do and helping a lot of entrepreneurs over the last couple decades, I've seen a lot of people that had great potential, but that potential was never realized because they didn't know how to make the connection between big idea and fantastic execution. And so this book is a distillation of those 2.5 decades of ideas and strategies, the blood, sweat, and tears, and all the things in between. And excited to launch that as well. So people can, same thing, go to Amazon, just search The Systems Thinking Visionary, Michael Walker. It'll pop right up. And you can get the Kindle or physical versions of both books right there. All my contact info is in there as well, what we do, all the things. But those would serve anybody with a business or, like I said, even within a business quite well. So I would encourage people to check them out. I'm pretty sure they'll be happy with what they find there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I've learned a number of things from you in our short time together, and the books are fantastic. I haven't read the second one yet. It just came out, but definitely on the list. I just want to say thank you so much, Mike, for such an amazing conversation. The way that you really elevate client experience from kind of like a checklist to a competitive strategy is a complete mindset shift for a lot of people. So thank you for getting the word out about that and the work that you do. And then for those of you listening, if you want to continue to create systems that generate loyalty, advocacy, and experiential growth, definitely connect with Mike. And please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast and this episode with somebody who's ready to create powerful impact. Until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.